Welcome in. It's your host with the dose. Vitamin J. Yeah. I'm James Davenport. And I'm a human being just like you. You're a human being just like me. We all have the potential for growth, for learning, for understanding, for rising above circumstances, for defeating anything at all that gets in our way, including when that thing in our way is in our own head. In the wrestling world, they would call this upcoming episode a shoot promo. It's not negative. It's truthful. It's not digging into people. It's not argumentative. It's not bitter. It's really not even angry. It's more just a almost third-party type perspective, except I'm first person, just James. And this reviews a good chunk of the journey in a bit more of a microcosm that really gets to what happened versus why what happened ended up happening. So in closing for this introduction, I will remind everyone, since we are all humans being, it's going to be okay. Everybody's the same. Wasn't life great before anybody knew me? And before they believed that I went nuts? But that's the problem. When all we do is believe somebody went nuts, as it were, and then just point and stare, or laugh, or doubt, or any of that, eventually we end up exposing how little we know about being human. And a simple little reminder, ones and zeros. Think of your brain as the Linux box it is. And stay positive. Okay, so this show is about life itself, of course, and being that you're intrepid, deeply humble, but surface level, over the top, a la professional wrestling, of course. Host here is human life. Sadly enough, my life got in the way of my podcast and the rest of my life, goals and ambitions for a little while. I've spoken until I was blue in the face about the genuine disgrace that is how my career as an officer with the Springfield, Ohio Police Division had to end, as well as my marriage around that same time in latter portions of 2022. This episode is not about the past other than to share what 2023's weight and temporary madness truly felt like within and what it took to overcome it to once again be just James Davenport. Early on, I figured there was no way whatsoever, given the particular circumstances, the whole thing would end privately and peacefully once cooler heads prevailed and common sense reemerged. Well, I was wrong. And as the spring of 2023 rolled around, I was finding myself falling further and further into a genuine clinical depression. And ultimately, did everything I was supposed to do to keep everything on track in my private, personal life, which obviously is just dad again, and with a growing 15-year-old daughter who has lived through all of this shit too, only to look back and smile at all the good times, having let go of the bad. I don't know specific dates for the worst of it, but I will still be reviewing my Facebook posts from the depths here on this show going forward, but Also, I will be transitioning the show more into the stunningly happy, all things considered, always positive, total wrestling computer geek backdrop that I am in real life, as it is beyond time that my family's good traits and real history and legacy are on display beyond the medical crisis I suffered in 2023 and the medical crisis my family suffered from April of 2012 to Memorial Day of 2018. So spring rolls into summer, of course, and I found myself in the classic spot that all with clinical depression find themselves in, lying in bed and feeling stuck there, just pinned down by an immense weight, a weight that I have referred to as a 5-ton gorilla, who is now back at peace beside me as we speak, for all of those still down. That specific part lasted at least 20 of the 64 weeks. That was the true bottom. During that time, I found myself regularly meditating, regularly taking in AV content, 432 hertz, things like that, all sorts of things that are good for the mind, are good for keeping the mind sharp, strong, learning. But also, that was the time I was feeling my absolute lowest. So thusly, I was forced by my own condition, spurred on as a result of my own choices, decisions, and relationships of any kind in the full past, to be also my loudest time. Like a pathetic little mouse, retired officer, 821 John, stoic widower, etc., who is intentfully and publicly walking through what was ultimately diagnosed as both clinical depression and PTSD. The public aspects are the social media posts on my original Facebook account primarily. That account has been deleted from their servers and now fully exists exclusively only within my private network. So summer rolls along, and my daughter and I are continually improving our relationship, itself a minor miracle given, well, at that time 14-year-old girl, now 15, dad who understands a lot of philosophical and civics type stuff alongside the often deep thinking and always studying. I can't imagine. But as we draw near and nearer to her 10th grade year starting up, the talk within our Zen zone bubbles up to that return to school, and that how that's when everything's going to become obvious, because, you know, a new school year, that's a good way to transition, so to speak. It's just like a new calendar year, that type of thinking. I even spoke with Deputy Crump at Northwestern High School when we went to get her schedule. Deputy Crump of the Clark County, Ohio Sheriff's Office, the same department our brother and friend to all, Deputy Matthew Yates, served, was disgustingly and tragically executed upon entry into a trailer. A young man who had already killed his own mother in Harmony, Ohio. There isn't enough gratitude in the world, Brother Deputy Yates. We've got it from here still. Then it happened. An illegal immigrant from the city in which I served, Springfield, Ohio, was driving around in western Clark County, Ohio, with no legal right to be doing so. Not saying a word about citizenship, talking about driver's licenses, insurance, ability, etc. My daughter will be doing those things. I do those things. Heather did those things. This is basic accountability. And I dare posit there is none amongst many in the community of humans. All humans. Everywhere. Mr. Heck, you're human too. Mr. Rue dug his own hole. And now all of a sudden the mayor's more active than the city manager in Springfield, Ohio. Folks, our system is broken. It's not just broken. I suspect it's not broken at all. It was built that way. This all created the horrific storm that led to the death of a completely innocent 11-year-old child, young master Aiden James Clark. To the Clark family, I assure you, the Davenport family is far from crazy, and we have your 6 as well. Namaste. And though I will leave how that incident impacted me to private discussion out of respect to the Clark family, I will include that it pushed the funk a little longer when combined with literally everything else about how we humans all treat each other and how many of us treat ourselves. Overall, the ranting posts and Facebook Live yelling, posting got less and less as I continued my private and deeply personal recovery and healing, as well as this next evolution of my daughter's father running concurrently. During those 64 weeks, while all the mockery, defamation, blissfully unaware politicking, and painfully unaware living elsewhere, my daughter and I had our nose to the grindstone, listening to old favorite speeches and new alike from the likes of Dr. Rick Rigsby, Alan Watts, Sam Harris, Jocko, David Goggins, remembering lessons from my Morticia, our own blood, meditation, talk therapy, taking prescribed medications as prescribed, and seeing our individual overall health, combined overall health, household cleanliness, and genuine gratitude back securely on track. Because here's the mic drop. The train never left the tracks. Vitamin J isn't a greedy corporate enemy, a bully cop, a lazy old man, a crazy old man, or really much of any of that beyond just life. Just life itself, just another human being like all of you out there. We are indeed all just humans being. In closing, I'll borrow from a wonderful contemporarily exists leader, once again, Dr. Rigsby. Sidebar, sir, we all know the speech that I'm alluding to, but it has made a massive impact on my daughter and my own life, as well as I have zero doubt millions more lives all the world over, thanks to this wonderful power of the internet, but all too few utilize for a greater good than just the self alone. As such, fellow humans being, how you living? Namaste.